Get ready to roar! With these 9 easy and affordable DIY Roar VBS decorations, you'll be saying, "It's a jungle in here" in no time. The first idea for you is to hang jungle pattern tablecloths on the wall. You can get tablecloths like these for only 97 cents at Walmart or for $1 at the dollar store. If your cloth covers 40.5 square feet like mine, then you can cover your walls for less than 3 cents a square foot. Not bad. Masking tape works best to hang it up because it holds securely and won't tear the paint off your walls. Next, we are going to make some jungle trees. There are so many materials you can use to make these, but the key to jungle trees is to layer in lots of texture. I'm cutting leaves out of a cardboard box that's green, but you can use posters, construction paper, or butcher paper painted green. I'm going to hang on to these extra scraps as well because I will use them later on. We're starting with leaf shapes to give the impression of trees, and then we will use the scraps to fill in more shapes and add texture. As you can see, there are lots of ways to make the trunks. Here I used a pool noodle and rectangular scraps of cardboard. I like how the cardboard is rough on the sides because it adds more texture to our jungle trees. Now these might not look like much at first, but our next ideas will help you add more texture to really complete the look. It's all in the details. Here I'm taking all those green scraps just to add some more texture and to fill it in. I'm even going to grab some other scraps of cardboard and just take them randomly on the wall for more texture. So let's make some jungle moss. I need some yarn, binder clips, an oven heated to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and something to wrap the yarn around. You can use metal knitting needles only if they don't have a plastic end. Since mine have plastic, I'm substituting aluminum foil. Start by tearing off a piece of foil and rolling it up into a tube. It doesn't have to be perfect. Next, wrap the yarn around the foil using binder clips to hold the ends in place. Before we put it in the oven, thoroughly soak your yarn in water. This increases safety and also it helps the curls stay in the yarn. Now pop it in the oven. I put mine in for about 15 minutes, but when I carefully checked it after that time went off, it was still damp. If your yarn is still damp, pop it back in for an additional 5 minutes until it is dry. Be careful when you're checking. However, once it is dry, we need to wait for it to cool completely. This is super important so that the curl stays. But once it's all the way cool, then unwind or just pull it off your foil to get awesome jungle moss that can hang from your trees. For our next item, cut a long piece of butcher paper about 1 foot wide. Then twist it into vines. Better yet, tape the paper to a drill bit and let the drill do the work for you. These look super cool and you can make them as long as you want. I decided to hang mine up with masking tape. To create our next project, I'm going to grab random boxes and make a pile. You might recognize some of these from my Power Up VBS video. Next, I'm tearing off pieces of butcher paper, crumpling them to add texture, and using them to cover the box pile. You may need some tape to hold it in place. Once the boxes are covered, grab a blue tablecloth for water. I love this idea because it looks so awesome and it only cost me $2 since I got the tablecloth and the paper from a Dollar Tree. Another easy idea is to cut the tablecloth into ribbons. This is easiest if you leave it folded the way it is in the packaging and just unfold it long ways. Then cut through all the layers at once, leaving a bit at the top uncut. You can take this tablecloth and hang it in a doorway for kids to walk through, hang it to the wall, or you can add it to our rock waterfall like I'm doing here. Either way, this idea is cheap, easy, and super fast. In the jungle, there's lots of animals, so let's make some snakes. I cut construction paper into strips and taped them together to make a paper chain. As an expert in paper chain making, a mini stapler works so much faster than tape, just FYI. Once your chain is made, cut out a head easily by folding a paper in half and do a similar process to cut out the eyes. This makes them symmetric. Add your details, tape it all together, and you have a fun and maybe frightening snake to hang from your jungle trees. You can also add toy animals like wooden snakes or stuffed animals to your jungle setup. Idea 7 is so easy. Just grab fake plants and add them to your scenes. You can buy inexpensive greenery from a dollar store, gather greenery from around the church, or borrow plants from church members. Super easy, and it adds a nice authentic touch. This next idea is one of my absolute favorites. I'm using a round yellow tablecloth and orange wrapping paper. You could also use an orange tablecloth, but I just couldn't find one that was orange. Anyway, start by covering your wall with the orange paper. Then we are going to add an animal silhouette and a sunset. If you are doing this on a large wall, then you can use the entire round tablecloth as your sun before adding your silhouettes. Otherwise, we're just going to jump in by using a projector to display an animal on the orange canvas, and then we're going to trace it and fill it in with paint. If you use a Sharpie to make the silhouettes, make sure something is protecting the wall because the Sharpie will bleed through the paper, and yes, I speak from experience. It only took me about 20 minutes to trace out the giraffe, and I think it looks really awesome. Since I'm not using my entire tablecloth for the sun, I cut out a small circle to be the sun. You can use a frisbee or a plate as a rough guide for making your circle. And then you can fold it up and kind of trim it all to be the same size. So here I'm hanging the sun too high on the wall with tape, and then I adjust it to get it to look the way I want. Complete the look by putting a black tablecloth along the floor to create the ground. Last of all, let's use the projector to make some more animal cutouts. Here I'm making an elephant, but you could use the same process for really any animal. A cool idea for a lion would be to trace out a lion and paint the cardboard, then bunch up a yellow tablecloth to make a 3D mane. Anyways, with this elephant I'm showing here, I had to cut out smaller pieces because I didn't have a big enough piece of cardboard, but I was just then able to tape them all together. I'm going for a 3D look, so I'm going to make the ears bendy and I'll add a pool noodle trunk. To shape the noodle, I cut a long slit on the back side of the noodle. Then I cut partway through the inside of the noodle to let it open flatter. To allow for bends and also to add texture, I made a row of slits perpendicular to the back slit of the trunk. Rotate the trunk 180 degrees, add more slits like this to the side further down, and repeat until you reach the end of the trunk. This will let the trunk bend forwards and backwards naturally. Now that my pieces are ready, I attach my elephant ears with tape. For the trunk, I hot glued it in place. You may need to adjust your initial cuts to shape it exactly how you want, which is what I'm doing here. I also added hot glue on the top of the trunk and folded it back so that way it kind of sticks out from the cardboard. A metal coat hanger is helpful here as well. Straighten the hanger, run it through the noodle, and bend the wire to your desired shape. I poked the end of the wire through the cardboard to secure it in place. Lastly, paint your elephant gray. I didn't have any gray paint, so I mixed white and black in small batches. This meant that my elephant wasn't the same gray color everywhere, but the differences in the gray tones added more texture. And after all, elephants are pretty wrinkly. Don't forget to paint the backside of the ears as well. I used white paint to add some tusks, I just kind of freehanded those, and then I used a black Sharpie to add eyes and add all those elephant wrinkles. Now let's see how everything turned out. Ta-da! Or should I say, roar! I love this jungle African theme because there is so much diversity with this and you can take it in so many directions. You can go from a tropical rainforest to a snake-infested jungle to the dry savanna. Of course, my display here is just a sampling to give you an idea of how these ideas look, but all of these can be done on a much larger scale. So which idea is your favorite? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crafting!